They want me to change, but I ain't changing. Nah, I remain the same.
And you are now tuned into another episode of Intellectually Petty Radio brought to you in concert with the Beautiful Machine Magazine as well as the mighty Nerve DJs Radio Network. You already know, man. Week after week, hour after hour, minute after minute, we only rock with legends around here. And today is absolutely no exception. Greatness is birthed by greatness's mother. And today we have one of the greatest producers in the history of fingertips and M16s, or I don't know. I tried to sound fancy, but I didn't because we have Ma Dukes herself, Maureen Yancy, is in the building, accompanied by one of the best principals in the history of education himself, Principal Tip of Persian High School in Detroit, Michigan. How y'all doing, family?
Fine.
Yeah, good evening.
How's your family doing? How's life? How's everything going?
For me, it's awesome. I could not wish upon anything greater than what it is right now.
Absolutely. I second that.
Yo, and Principal Tip, I just want to start with you, respectfully to my Dukes. But today we're here to talk about lupus, correct? And Jay Dilla. I think
Yes.
you muted yourself, Principal. For okay.
Yep. Yeah. We want to honor one of our alums at Persian, but with doing that, we have to tell his story. And with telling his story, we have to bring awareness to not just the Persian community, but Detroit community of what lupus is, and the causes of it, and how people are coping with it. So with that, Jay Dilla, as you mentioned at the beginning of the show, is one of the greatest producers of all time, and so why not celebrate him as an alumni, but also his greatness and genius.
Okay. And do you prefer Ma Dukes or do you Miss Yancy?
I I'm used to my dukes. I answer to all of it. Everybody has their own little thing, but I'm grateful for every acknowledgement. It doesn't matter.
Okay. And just briefly, give us a glimpse into Jay Dilla's story for those people that don't know.
Okay. Jay Dilla was born in 1974. Okay, February 7th. That young man gravitated to music by a couple of months old, being able to not talk, but to gurgle the sounds of a youth, but do it in perfect pitch harmony. And so we teased a lot. We thought it was ridiculously funny, never dreaming it would be something that would follow him forever. He came with a purpose and he stuck to it. And it did not matter what happened in the world. Music was always his life's blood. It was what he lived for. He went on to produce for others in Detroit and well, all over the globe. He produced for people, but the people he produced for were iconic people, of all persuasions. And I just thought I couldn't say more about a youth following his dream and his passion. And it's not just him, but I believe truly and have seen and witnessed
Hmm.
all young people coming to this world with a gift of their own. It just has to be nurtured. Simple as that.
I would agree with you wholeheartedly. At what point did you take him serious?
Gee, I took him serious when he decided that every Christmas, we're only getting one toy, perhaps, or whatever, one item each
Hmm.
Christmas. Yancy had two families. He had a family before I met him, and they were older, youth, but still they were, youth. And I tell you, Dilla's ambition never changed. He always wanted something musical. The first items being a tape recorder. Fisher Price record player was actually the first item of his very own, and he got that at 2 years old. And he used it in Harmony Park to spin records for adults. that Fisher Price played every record, every piece of vinyl that ever came through, and it was really strong. I mean, he would be outdoors playing in the park with, and he had an adult crowd. There were no youth down there at that time. You know, just had the whole big hotels and the park there,
Mm-hmm.
right beside the music hall. But being in a family that, well, we had a restaurant that we were managing a restaurant. Mr. Yancy was working at Ford's, and so he didn't have any outside playtime or anything, you know, other than to go to the park and spin records.
Yo, that's and so did he have lupus?
Yes, he did. He had no idea until the last 4 or 5 years of his life. He suffered the last 4 or 5 years of
Mm-hmm.
his life, but he didn't. They did not know until the very last year of his life that it was lupus that caused all of the problems. They
What?
hadn't looked for it because he was a man. So they didn't even look that way. No tests were done to go after, you know, what could
Mm-hmm.
have caused so much for his platelet count to drop overnight, even after having, infusions. His platelet count could drop to almost where they thought he would die. Uh, so he just had a rough 4 or 5 years of that, and we even before he moved to California with Common to continue to produce, he actually was in, going back and forth to Carmano's Cancer Center,
Mm-hmm.
trying to, put an end to what all this stuff was going on in his body and nobody could explain. And it was very painful. And I guess, well, I know that it really was a weight on his shoulders because he was lost the ability to use his hands at times or was in such pain. But in order to produce and make music and write songs, you got to have those hands. And so that was really what got him really into should I say not a free space. He felt like he was pinned down to do certain things, and he couldn't work as many hours as he did previously. Might work. He might be in the studio for 23 hours, and I'd be after him about come upstairs, get something to eat. This is before he moved out on his own. You know,
Mm-hmm.
got to take a nap. You got to go to bed. And he said, "Okay, I'm gonna finish this first." And I get up, maybe middle of the night. He's still down there. He still hadn't eaten. You know, it was just like he had this thing about him that he wanted every client that he had
Mm-hmm.
to be on point, so that when they had meetings with their record label, they wouldn't have to hear any slack. They would
Yeah.
be on point. And that happened because mainly because he was kind of disheartened when he went with Common once to turn in a record album, and they were humming and hawing about whatever. And I guess he was maybe a few days late, but Dilla had such a huge client list, and they were all iconic artists and still are.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's when he found out that they had serious deadlines, and he vowed to make sure that nobody ever went through that. They would always have their work done in plenty of time to do whatever. You know, that was his motto.
What was the first conversation like where he talked to you about being sick?
Well, actually, he thought that he was getting arthritis. I've had rheumatoid arthritis for about 40 years,
Mm-hmm.
and also osteoporosis. Okay. Look, I'm short, but I got a whole lot of tall things. And he realized that a lot of the times when I was unable to use my hands or to do certain things, he felt the pain and understood that I was having a lot of pain with my hands. It would hurt so bad sometimes. So instead of having medication to rub on, it never seemed to reach that point. I would actually pound on my hand to try to get the cramp or whatever out of the place so I can use my hands, or so they would look like normal hands. Because if you picture a witch in your head with their fingers, like that, they would lock up on me
Yeah.
like that, and I couldn't get it loose, and it just was so painful. And I just have to sit there sometime, maybe an hour or more, for it to relax enough of my body, But that's frustrating, which kind of like worked against me, but it's really nothing. The body has a way of its own telling you what it needs and what it's doing. And of course, I didn't understand it, and I really didn't think that Dilla had that. I just figured he worked so many hours that his hands were just
Yeah.
tired.
Yeah.
That was my assumption.
Principal Principal tip. Did you know Dilla personally?
I did not. No, I did not. So the connection is we have a Jay Dilla studio in our music room, since he's a Persian alum. And so, and we have a student who has lupus. And so with that connection, I was trying to figure out how can I get in touch with his mom? Who knows his mom? Who knows his family that I can get in touch with her? And ironically, we were having an event, and one of the caterers was like, you guys got a Jay Dilla room? So I'm like, yeah, it's down here. So I showed it to her. She said, well, I know his mom very well. I went here. I used to ride to school with him every morning. I said, you know his mom? I said, I need her number. I said, I'm trying to do a Jay Dilla day to give honor and pay homage to who he was. I said, but she's like, yeah. So she gave me Miss Yancy's number, and it's been a match made in heaven. Ironically, she knew my dad, which I didn't know, and so it was like it was meant to be. And so here we are now, seeing a dream come true, putting together a first annual Jay Dilla Day at Persian High School.
When is it?
April 17th,
From what time to what time?
3 p.m. to 6 p.m.
People performing? Is it just information? Kind of give me a synopsis of what the event is about.
I'll let my Dukes tell you. Well, she won't tell you all the people that's performing, but she can
Okay.
tell you a few people that will be there. I can say that it will be informational. We will have people there recording accused. Of course, my Dukes, who's gonna talk about lupus and lupus awareness, because again, that's what part of it is all about. But Ms. Yancy, I'll let you go ahead and answer that part.
Okay, I won't name some artists because they're under contract otherwise within the city. And so, as far as publicity, they have that 90-day thing, that
Yeah.
goes around. Yeah, they can't do. But for all intents and purposes, we'll have people that work directly with Dilla. We will have, of course, well, I guess I can say it now. Are the tickets all gone?
No, so we still trying to sell the tickets. We're still
Okay.
trying to sell
All
tickets.
right. Well, I guess I'll say it. But the group that Dilla uh, helped form is group, Wish Slum Village, and
Okay.
yes, and that they of course our family, and they will be there to help and to make it a very great event. And yeah, it's going to be some surprises, and there will be other artists there that are iconic. All everyone that's coming has been influenced by Dilla. Either they have worked with him or he's produced with them. Ronnie Euro will be there. That's Fat Cat, aka Fat Cat. Frank Knit of Frank and Dank, which was the group that Dilla established and wrote specifically for them. They started out being b-boys, and then he just transformed them into a group. And they're still, I believe, they're in California this week, but they have been overseas. They tour year round. It's never a season that's not tour season for Dilla people, so it still goes. We will have Nick Speed is going to drop in, and he's iconic.
Yes.
He's been doing things since he was 5. My husband knew about him, and when his dad was, had BET going on in DC and everything, and he was about 5 years old and dressed like a young man, college style, and doing news reports, and here he is now. He's still a great musician, and he's top of the line. He's created his own. His own, what do you call it?
Oh, the turntable.
Get a turntable. Yes, a
Oh
portable turntable.
yeah, that's so
And
dope.
he just has that mind and focus. He's worked with me on museum exhibits and anything. So I've been fortunate enough to be close enough to the guys that if I ask, they're there. So yeah, we have a few people coming. I won't. not at, at liberty, rather to say some of
Yeah.
the other. They would rather I didn't because they don't want people just showing up because they're there. It's about the youth. It's about purging, and of course, with a man there in purging that is suffering from the same thing that Dilla did, we know his plight, and I'd like to firsthand to meet his mom, knowing full well what she's going through.
Yeah.
There's nothing harder, than to watch your child and especially your young man go through these things, and they're still a creative individual. Uh, whatever he does, he has an extreme purpose, and that gift we have to make sure that he's is comfortable while he's creating. So yeah.
For somebody that's just finding out they got lupus, what can they expect from their body?
Well, that it can't be pinpointed because it's not the same for everyone. Uh,
Really?
some people are not able to have a regular diet. The pain that comes in spasms, or it's like a crippling pain. It's like the most severe arthritic pain, at least for myself. I have the markers still, but it hasn't affected me in the way that it did my son. Uh, yeah, his platelet count would drop, and they would watch. He would be in. He would have a plasmapheresis and bring it up to normal, and within maybe 2 days they check him, and it's dropped so far that they don't know how it happened. But he had a lot of things going on internally that they weren't aware of and couldn't see. There was one point in time that he had a hole in his heart behind where you could see. So
Mm.
even though folks and were looking everywhere, they didn't see that fluid coming from the heart, and that was something that I had to deal with it because they taught me at Cedar Sinai how to empty the pump and to do the dressings and all those things. And Dilla was very, very particular, and he wouldn't let anybody do anything for him but me. So they had to teach me how to do what he needed done. So yeah, in a way, it was a blessing because I know he would not have allowed people to just be all over him. He wasn't the kind of person that wanted to be sick or chose. He was wary of strangers. In a personal type way, and yeah, it's really crippling to not be able to swallow. Each time his kidneys would fail when he had a relapse during the treatments or whatever, and when his kidneys failed, and you have to wait to see what it's going to affect next while they're trying to keep him alive. And it was like I could say it was I would count at least a dozen times during the last 2 years of his life, and when we were in California, um, that we didn't know if he would make it to the next day. So that happened several times. I mean, I flew from Detroit there overnight when he first got sick after that, and I already had a doctor waiting for him because when I knew that he was going to leave to go to California and he was going to Carmelo, so I had to find a right oncologist, to be able to work with him. So I made sure all that was done, but it just was like it happened so rapid, till you're lucky that you have somebody to even call an ambulance. And you're right.
Damn. Well, I am very sorry that you had to go through all of that.
Well, I'm sorry that he's not with us anymore, but I am grateful that I was able to be there with him because I was able to bring him into the world, and then when he transitioned, he was in my arms with his last breath. So I could not ask for more than to have been you know in care of him at that time.
Are you surprised at how his legend continues to grow?
In a way, yes. I think that he was ahead of his time, and maybe that was why the slow part, because he had worked so hard for so many years and done so much for so many people, and he didn't get any recognition at all. It's been later, in the last few years, that it seems to have rebounded, and his fan base is getting quite young. They're not even teens yet. So I'm like, so it's a whole new day. Parents are playing Dilla for the youth, and it's just phenomenal.
And that leads me to my question too, Principal Tip. Um, the young people at Persian currently, What if they do? They learn about Dilla since he's got a room named after him.
Yeah, so that's another part. What I'm trying to do is bring the connection to them, because outside of Persian, outside of Detroit, East Coast, West Coast, South, even even in Russia, in different countries, Dilla is big, and I want them to be able, as they get older and travel out of uh, the states or wherever they go, and there's a mural or there's something with Jay Dilla's name on it, to make the connection and say, hey, he went to the same high school I went to. Mm-hmm. Right now, that connection is not there, where our kids know exactly what he's done for the music industry. And so again, it's like in your own household, no one really knows what you do on the outside. Mm-hmm. But when you go on the outside, everybody's like, hey, 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 hey. And, but in your own household, it's like you just nobody. Yeah. And so that's what it's like. It's like we don't know, but we should know. And so that's what it is again, bringing more awareness to who he was, but what he meant to Persian. What does he mean for Persian community?
Okay, so did you go to Persian as a student?
I did not. I went to Cody.
That's horrible. Sorry to hear that.
Since I'm in love with Persian, Cody is a little bit on the back burner, but we up there. So
No.
So yeah. So Persian is my love. I'm putting my all into Persian, branding Persian, trying to make sure that our kids understand all of the legends and all of the famous people. There's so many that has come out of Persian, and all of the doctors, the lawyers, the dentists, all these people, and just regular general folks that are good people around the city that have graduated from Persian.
I don't think you should ever leave yourself out of that conversation, though.
I appreciate that. Thank you.
Well, and I'm gonna be honest with you, like, and for one, like having grown up in Detroit, born and raised, it's hard to explain when you go to other cities the beauty of seeing blackness everywhere, and you are in a unique position to lead a vessel of the future as a black man, and our community nationwide is not as fortunate as the brothers and sisters at Persian to be able to see somebody that looks like them that gives a shit.
True.
Yeah. I agree, and I think also, us in Detroit, we recognize each other by what high school you went to. Mm-hmm. So, if you meet someone and you in Texas and someone say, hey, I'm from Detroit, the first thing you say, well, what high school did you go to?
Man.
So because that's how we greet each other. What high school? So high school is very, very important. I want my kids to have the best high school experience that they can ever have and know that where they are is home.
Yes.
Speaking of that, Miss Ma Dukes, what was his graduation from high school like?
Well, actually, he was already having issues. He did not walk the stage. He was sick. He didn't want anybody to know, and he hid that for years. Actually, people were coming, getting work done. He was already shopping for attorneys. He was flying out that week prior, thing, to all activities and everything, which he wouldn't have gone. He was extremely introverted. Mm-hmm. If you see him on stage, you wouldn't know that was the same person. But then if you look at it, the fact that he had one video, I think he was in two in his entire life, but the people he worked for and the group that he produced for us specifically, he had several, but he was camera shy. And he didn't want to be seen when his voice changed, even at church. He didn't want to sing in the choir anymore because everybody knew that was his voice, so that had turned into a man's voice. So it was like that wasn't happening at all. Like he told me when he was 16 and he was going to, we went to Easter Sunday church service. And he said, well, you better get a picture of this suit. Now I'm not ever wearing another one. And he didn't. And he didn't. Yeah, he didn't. I think he at one point changed his look as a artist and started wearing what is it? What do you call them? The jackets, the suit jackets or whatever. But he never bought another suit. Yeah, but he he was sick, very very ill. Uh, People talk. I think I mentioned it on the air the other night. Um, that how many groups would come through there, and every year from Thanksgiving through New Year, the house was filled up with artists like Crab Called Quest, you know, and the Roots and Erica Badu. Everybody had their weeks that they would come produce. So us still being house, the family still being in the home, we end up bowling a lot, so we could be gone at night, you know, and not interfere. And everything we knew was serious. And I was just beginning to digest the fact that this is what it's going to be, because I tried to sway him everywhere I could, because I was kind of worried about him being caught up like some of the individuals that are in the city and had master's degrees from college and couldn't get a job because of the color of their skin, you know. And because I even asked about some. Because I wondered, you know, why would that person be out there? What happened in his life? You know, because you care, and they're not weren't bad people, but you wonder why are they in that mindset that they can't get a grip on life, and it was
Yeah.
devastating. And they just weren't going to college and just like getting by. These were intelligent people, but I think something can happen to you if you work hard and you give your all, and then you come out and they tell you you can't.
Yeah.
You know, that's a whole different thing.
Yeah.
And Tony Gardens, it was yes, mostly our people, maybe one or two families that you know weren't. And when I moved there, and it was an elite neighborhood, so you're going to be looked at a certain kind of way. And being, and I was a member of Vernon Chapel, which was one of the churches that was that way. So
So, so let me ask you this: was Principal Tip the first principal from Persian to reach out to you?
yes.
Were you disappointed by that?
No, I wasn't. I knew that. See, in the neighborhood, when I came to the neighborhood, I was like, I'm from the black bottoms. So I already knew I had stepped out of my comfort zone. Okay, it was an elite neighborhood, but and I knew that the people were they spoke well, they well rounded. Most of them, I'll say, were administrators of schools, uh, lawyers, a lot of lawyers in the church, and they had high positions in the black community, and they were not as relaxed around the average Joe. Okay, so I'll just say it like that. You, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to say it a certain way, but I was a member of the church, and I did serve a capacity in all the choirs and all. I taught Sunday school, all those things there, but I knew full well that there was a difference, and it was a line, you know. Yeah.
And for those of you out there, she referenced Black Bottom, and
Hmm.
Black Bottom is Black Wall Street is more known,
Hmm.
and I want to say it's in Oklahoma,
Tulsa, Oklahoma.
Tulsa. But Black Bottom was our Black Wall Street in Detroit.
And the jazz capital, everybody coming in jazz. They had it going on. Yes, yes.
So if you get a chance out there, look it up. I'm telling you, you will not be disappointed. Okay.
Absolutely.
And my Dukes and Principal Tip, this is a question for both of y'all. And apparently, Principal Tip, you're working your magic over there, Persian, because the comments they love you.
Well, thank
But
you. Thank you.
this is a question that has nothing to do with anything. I ask everybody that comes on the show this exact same question, and it is this: you are sitting on a park bench, and God sits down next to you, and he or she says you can ask him one question. What would it be?
I'll let you
And
go first, my dukes.
Ooh, that's a tough one. No, I would ask him, am I on the right path? Because I feel like the work that I do, I know that um, it's my calling, and I'm very grateful. But I want to know always, I'm looking to do more, every day. or every time I counsel with a parent or a youth on any subject, I want to know, did I give them enough? I want to make sure that I reach that space in them that it meant something and they can hold on to it. I want to know if I've done enough because there's so many young people that need people like Mr. Tipton. Um, I talked about him. He doesn't know this, but I talked about him all week long last week because I was, doing the safety music program in Atlanta where they're doing 38 new schools with the J. Dilla Tech grant. And I marvel at that, but just the fact that Pershing has a atmosphere and a rapport between students and their principal that allows them to feel good about where they are, to think, and not. I have never been in that school, and it's been so pleasant to be in that school, when, even doing when I change classes, and everybody is so cautious and comfortable, and happy to be in that space. Nobody's trying to skip out the door and go anywhere. They're happy to be in this. And so I've told everybody about it, but I had to explain it to the schools I went to in Fulton and DeKalb County last week because to have a principal like him and to have all of the instruments and technology that they have there, it's a dream world. So yeah, we got to make that thing happen. You know, uh, Principal Tipton should have all the support that he needs from city and school and everywhere else. People should be breaking their neck to try to make sure that they have what they need to make that difference.
I
I would
appreciate
agree.
that. I appreciate that. Yeah.
And
So I'm about to answer that question as well,
okay.
but I got to piggyback off what my Dukes just said. And so, for me, it's more of my staff. I mean, you can be a great principal, but if you don't have a great staff, then it doesn't mean anything. So I treat my staff like they're people. I treat my students like they're people, not just like they're a number or they're an employee. We're all in this together. And not when I say staff, I don't just mean the teachers. I mean the custodians, the security, the kitchen, the engineers, everyone that plays a part in that community inside our building. We're all together. We're all
Mhm.
one. So it's not what's the custodian's name? What's the security name? We know who we are. Our kids know who we are. Our kids, we create a space that's safe for our kids because they are all our kids. Um, but when you ask if I was sitting next to God, what question would I ask? And for me, it would be, what would I ask her? Because I feel like she gave birth to all mankind. And so my question would be, uh, how true is the Bible?
Mm.
Mhm.
And the first words in the Bible is that let us create man in our image. So who is the us and who is the our? And you know, how do I decipher that? And then from there, I'll see what advice he gives me.
That's
Yo,
deep. That's deep.
yo, I've never
So
had
make
anybody say that one.
yes, that's first that, and that's very wise because we don't know all of everything.
No, we don't.
Mm-hmm.
And it was a lot of hands in the pot
Right.
for the
That's
Bible.
what it
Yeah,
is.
yeah, yeah. So, but again, the beginning it says, let us create man in our. So if it was just one God, who was the us and who was our?
Thank you. That's the whole thing because it's only one. It's only one.
That's
Mm.
that's what the Bible says, but I believe it's again, give birth to mankind. Only a female
Yeah.
can give birth, and that's been shown from animals to humans. Only
Yeah.
females can give birth.
Yes.
Let
Yes.
me ask you this, Principal. What's the most heartbreaking moment you've had as a principal thus far?
Man, it's been a few. I would say losing a student.
Oh,
Um, but also, um, yeah, I would say that, yeah, losing a student.
Do you ever, and it's sad that I'm assuming that you've lost more than one. Um, but
Well, as a principal, only one. As an
mhm.
educator, many. This is year 27 for me, so it's been many.
Do you go home and blame yourself?
No, 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 no. Only way you can blame yourself is if you're the one that led them down the path.
Okay.
Yeah.
Flip side, best story of a graduated student that you feel you had a direct role in their success.
Oh, man, you asked some good questions. I didn't prepare for all these. All right.
And
Yeah, don't flatter me, bro. This shit comes into my head. Not
no,
say
true. That's true.
So it's been quite a bit. I can list some students that are in college right now doing great. Some that are working at Allen Manufacturing that's doing great. But I have a student, a guy named D'Angelo Hobbs. When I first got the Purge and D'Angelo, was just on a path of destruction. He was still doing some things as a senior, but as he graduated, my main thing was that he needed to get away from the city. He's brilliant, absolutely brilliant. He needed to get away from the city, and I just talked to him a couple of days ago. He's doing great. He's a bright spot for me because he could have been in the grave, he could have been in jail, but he's still out here grinding, trying to make it happen in college. So for me, that would be the one.
Let me ask you a question. Something similar to my dukes. Um, what story of inspiration from Dilla have you heard that touched you the most?
I well, the one that resonates most is when, and it's been many that have reached out, mostly young, either college students or somebody going through something, devastating in life. And I'm not talking about any one particular area. I meet and greet a lot, but it's happened in London. I had the meet and greet, and I met like three or four people. They had their own time with me, and they were moved to come to talk to me because they felt that his music motivated them to want to live. Uh, they were they had given up and just didn't think anything was there in life for them. And through his music, it sort of touched their hearts and how they felt. And I wondered about it a lot, but it's happened many times in California when we had a lot of the meet and greets, and even now when young children, they don't know where to turn. Sometimes their parents aren't ready for them to be
Yeah.
as musically inclined. When you give birth to a kid, you're talking about that kid before they even come and talking about what you want them to be when they grow up. And guilty. So
Me
that's Charles.
too.
However, Mr. Yancy and I made a pact that when we had children,
Oh, I think somebody called her.
Uh-oh.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. Streamyard is that's one of the flaws of Streamyard. If someone calls you, it instantly goes black.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yo, what's next for a principal? Like what's the step up?
Superintendent.
Is that a goal?
It is. It's a goal. But it's not a goal that I'm going to force. It's a goal that I'm going to let gradually happen. And if God see fit, then I'll be where I need to be and not where I think I should be. So always sit back and be patient and wait. And if my journey is wherever God tell me to go, and so or stay, and the way I would know that God wants me to be somewhere is that he will send someone there and tell me, hey, we want you up here, or we want you to go here, you know what I mean? And instead of me exploring it and trying to make it happen myself. So
And our current president has decided that the Department of Education is pointless. Um, what's up? I'm trying not to go there too much, but
Yeah.
how does that affect the day to day operations for you?
So right now, it hasn't really affected us a whole lot. It's just more so the talk and how do we navigate through it in the future. Um, because right now we don't know exactly what cuts are going to come to the
Mhm.
Department of Education and what funding is going to be put where and what funding we're going to lose. We do know, as they say, it's supposed to be a 25% cut to funding. But what we don't know is that 25% cut just one cut, 25%, or is that 25% to the athletics, 25% to the science, 25% to the social studies and math, and you know what I mean, to the extracurriculars, 25% cut to the teachers. So what part of the 25%, are we looking at? That part we don't know just yet.
And Miss Yancy, are you there? Because I see her. It looks like you're trying to get
She's
back
trying
in.
to get in. I'm gonna reach out to her right quick. Let's
Okay.
see where she is.
But that's just they want this country to be as dumb as possible.
Absolutely, and again, I blame those folks that voted. I mean, so here's my take on that. As I always say, if I were a person, oh, this is if I was a
Mhm.
person who was caught up on sexual assault,
Mhm.
who told all of my again, I went to Cody, so I tell all my guys from Joy Road, hey, we about to go up to this capital, we gonna take it over. First of all, we've been dead, but if we
Facts.
didn't,
Mhm.
we would be in handcuffs, whatever else, my people would have been.
Mhm.
And I would have done all this other, I got all these charges. There's no way in the world they say, yeah, you can run for president.
Oh,
Right.
and they would give you every bit of that time. Ain't nobody pardoning you.
You-
So here's a guy that's done all that and he can still run for president and y'all still vote for him and win. It's
Okay.
like,
Here's my pushback on that. I'm not blaming the people that voted for him. I'm blaming the Democrats that fumbled the bag.
mm,
Here you have one of the most unlike motherfuckers. Excuse my language, Miss Yancey.
well, you
Uh,
said it right.
one of the most unlike motherfuckers in the history of politics, at least in my, her, or your generation. And they didn't follow the democratic way of doing things. They just instilled Kamala Harris, which turned a lot of people off.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying, and I absolutely, especially now, think she would have been a much better president than this guy, but
absolutely.
they circumvented the system and they allowed for the other side to use that and say they're bullying you. They are not using democracy as it's intended. And they not only they bullied the system, but she wasn't the strongest candidate they could have put forward.
Yeah.
My batteries.
So principal, come on, principal, bro, you gotta do better than that, man. Your battery,
Yeah, I'm charging it up now. I'm good.
that's like my dog ate my homework, man.
Oh my God.
Oh well, let me send this clip to your students.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay, so Ma Dukes, what's next for the J Dilla Foundation?
Yes, the J. Dilla Foundation. Well, it's James Stewart Yancey Foundation. I changed the name in 2014 so that it would honor him in the Smithsonian as a black man and not just as a nickname. And that was the reason for changing it. So
Mm.
that honored him and his dad, who was Beverly DeWitt Yancey. It honored his dad for as well because he was the one who instilled a lot of education and music that he had.
So he's in the Smithsonian?
Ain't
Yeah.
that crazy? Ain't that
So,
wild?
Yo.
And so again, that's why it's important for at least my students to know who he is. So when they go to the Smithsonian Museum, they can make that connection. Hey, I went to the same high school he went to. Instead of someone else saying, "Hey, he's from Detroit," they're like, "He is." Yeah. They should
You know,
be educating the other people like, hey, he went to our high school. This is something, blah, blah, blah. You know what I mean? Just they should know.
Yeah.
and sadly, and I've told this over the years a few times. I never heard of Jay Diller until he passed.
It's okay.
And I think the problem or the rationale for that, I won't say
Mm-hmm.
problem, is that he was not quote unquote Detroit. In that he wasn't talking about ass and dope
Yes.
and he didn't go out and buy 17 minks and 3,000 chains and 50 million pair of overpriced
Oh,
glasses.
he had a little thing.
But he didn't like most of Detroit, myself included, are flashy by
Yeah.
nature, and he
Well,
was a very nondescript individual.
he did have a truck. Now that's what he did. He treated himself to a Lexus 350 truck that I drove to take my son to school. I was happy to drive that. So yeah, I enjoyed that. I enjoyed that. But yeah, he was a wonderful son. I must say, God blessed me, and so that's why he blessed me with not just my son Dilla, but with my son Dilla J, who is also he's in London, I think, tonight,
Hmm.
uh, playing with another piano uh, prodigy in London at some big place. So he did rap and he's done classical, and now he's playing jazz piano, and he's doing actually classical piano. They're doing duets, and they're both doing it, whatever they do. I'll, whatever they're doing. I talked to him, and then my daughter Martha, who's also Persian graduate, uh, she is something else too, but she's introverted, just like James was, and she doesn't want to be seen, but she's brilliant. And yeah, proud Persian graduate. Mhm.
Who else should I know about from Persian?
So you have quite a few NBA guys,
Mhm.
um, NFL, um, but also what is his name? Ladies man, Tim Meadows.
Oh, really?
Tim
He went to
Meadows from Saturday
Persian?
Night Live. Yeah, Saturday Night Live. So um,
I had no
yeah,
idea.
it's tons, it's tons. Levi Stubbs, from the Four Tops.
Oh, I
You
okay.
know,
Really?
I was
yeah,
that.
yeah, yeah. I mean, is the list goes on and on and on. So yeah, so Steve Smith actually has a scholarship for a Persian student who attends Michigan State. We get a full ride
Mm-hmm.
every year. The
Yo,
ironic thing is that Jay Dilla has this tech grant
Mm-hmm.
that we at Persian knew nothing about. Like, how does Persian not know about the Jay Dilla tech grant?
Oh, you know what? You weren't the principal then,
Yeah.
and I did not throwing shade on anybody, but when I first got involved, because I've been involved with that, and I'm an ambassador for the Safe Music
Yeah.
Program, but I did call and try to implement that for the school. Uh,
Yeah.
uh, Nobody ever called me back. Yeah,
Crazy.
but I didn't know
It's-
principal had changed. I just figured, I said, oh well, she's not there. Miss Brown that was there at that time,
yeah. Yeah.
and so yeah, but that's okay
Yep.
because
Absolutely. And I'm glad. I want to be the one to say that I'm the one that brought it back together. So
exactly,
yeah.
exactly,
I
yeah.
mean, but that's a huge bag fumble. Like,
Hmm.
how do you not? If you want to be successful, you have to show them success.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so our kids that these people walk it's the same building, the same
Hmm.
hallways,
Thank you.
sat in the same classrooms, went to the same, like, did the same routine, walked the same corners and streets and blocks to get there every morning. They made it, you can too.
Yeah.
Yo, that is
You
crazy.
know, I think I want watching. Principal Tipton talk to his students, and he doesn't talk at the students. He talks to them in a respectful manner.
Yo.
So
Yeah, that's it's family. It's family. It's
win-win.
family.
They are so pleased. They even had a conversation when it's something that they may be doing. It's a casual meeting, and so you can't do anything but respect. Respect it.
Yo, I wish I'd have had that type of relationship with a
I know that's
principal.
right.
Yeah, my principal ended up going to jail, I believe, for embezzlement.
Oh wow!
Yeah,
Where high school? You from Detroit? High school did you go to?
Henry Ford.
Oh yeah, that explains it. There it is.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's cold right there, man. I was almost saying something.
Hey,
You with the Cody. You got some nerve, bro. yo, so if people want to, they want to come to the event, how do they go about? You said there's some tickets still left, correct?
Yes, sir.
How do they go about getting them?
So you can go to DetroitK12.org/Pershing, or I think I sent Kelly the flyer. If you're able to upload the flyer, is a QR code also on there, and they can just scan it and purchase the tickets. But the easiest way is just go to DetroitK12.org/Pershing.
okay.
And I know Rita just sent me a flyer.
Yeah.
I'm not all that, great with the technology. I'm trying to be polite and save myself the embarrassment. But I'm going to see if I can somehow post that on here before we dip.
That'd be beautiful.
And if not, I got a couple people on the fan page. We got a decent little following over there, so I'm gonna definitely
Okay.
post it on there. But that's anything y'all want to say before we leave too, while I work on this.
A couple of things for me. So we'll also have, and I know my screen is kind of messed up now, but we also will have t-shirts. If you guys can see that t-shirt, so they can be purchased t-shirts. There. We also, each guest that comes in will get a wristband. Let me go back here.
Let me see that T-shirt one more time too, because I
Yeah.
had you in a smaller
Okay.
version. Oh, that's fire.
Yes, it is.
Okay, how do I get one of those? Because I got.
So it's $20. We're selling them at the event. We're selling them at the event only because
Damn, bro.
again, we won't have a way to mail them out. But also,
You can't
so
make an exception, bro. Come on,
so
man.
so mine is the only one that's purple and gold because I'm an Omega, but the rest of them are purple and white. So purple is lupus awareness color. So
Yeah.
again, I got the purple and gold one.
See, I almost cut you off of that one.
Get this
See,
wristband.
the Lord cut you off.
Huh?
The Lord froze the screen.
Oh, really? All right. So again, this one is purple and gold. Everybody else will be purple and white.
Yeah.
All right. So and then we got these wristbands, these lupus wristbands. Every person that purchases a ticket would get one of these coming through the door. And again, just we're going to make sure if they want to take a picture with my Dukes, they can take pictures with my Dukes, and just make a great day out of it.
Mm-hmm.
Again, it's that Thursday before Good Friday. And so hopefully everyone will be able to come out.
Okay, how about this? How about I buy 2 of those T-shirts and can you mail me one if I do that?
Yes, sir. I'll just tell me where your studio. I will bring it to you myself.
I'm in Cleveland, Ohio. I don't think.
Oh, in that case, no, I won't bring it to you myself.
Right. You was quick.
Yeah.
That, what wasn't you?
Yeah. We'll mail it to you. I'll get it to you. I'll personally get it. Yeah. Absolutely.
All right. So we're gonna give one away from Intellectually Petty Radio, and then we're gonna I gotta have one for myself because actually it's just a collector's item. Right?
Yes, it is.
Yeah. And did you? And I'm sorry, my Dukes. Anything you wanted to say before we wrap it up?
Well, I just like to say that I truly enjoyed talking with you guys tonight, and a pleasure. And I just encourage everyone that cares anything about your city at all, try and make it. And if you can't, buy a ticket for someone else. But please donate. It's very important. Lupus is very serious. It affects anyone randomly, and it could be you. So let's support those and help lupus research find a cure. The only way we'll do it is participate and help each other. One love.
And that is April 17th, 3 p.m. to 6 p.m. I
Yes.
do have the flyer on the screen. Um, yeah, I got the well, you can scan the code at the bottom. Yo, enjoy yourself. And no one has told y'all today, man. I'm proud of y'all. This is very, very dope and much needed and much appreciated.
And we appreciate you. Thank you for having us on.
Thank
Oh,
you.
no doubt, man. And please, 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 bro, you gotta send me a cash app or something, or some way I can send you my information, my address.
Yeah.
I don't want the world to know where I live at, though, bro. So,
All right. Yep. I'll have Kelly get all that from you, and then I'll take care of you. Absolutely, no problem.
all right, no doubt, man. Definitely appreciate y'all. And shout out to Lisa, and I'm assuming this is Kelly Watson. Much love to y'all. Yo, Nick Speed is fire, man.
Yes, he is.
Doughboys, get it.
Mhm.
Okay. Wow, Persian showing up. And shout out to my cuz for tapping in too, and everybody else. I'm not gonna go through all that. Anyway, this has been an honor. So I can't possibly thank y'all enough. If there's anything else I can do for you, please don't hesitate to ask, and I got you.
Thank
All
you.
right. Thanks, guys. All right.
No doubt, man. Y'all have a good one. Y'all
You
have a
too.
phenomenal evening on purpose.
Yes,
Oh,
sir.
Absolutely.
thank
Peace.
thank
All
you.
right, Mom. See you later.
Bye bye.
All right. All right.
Yo, boy. I boy, that was really fucking dope. I don't really have any other ways to say that. It just was really fucking dope. And let me see, who do we have next week? Sister Yasina and Curtis Thompson. Very, very, very dope. I got a chance to meet them when I went up to Mosque Number One in Detroit a couple of weeks ago. And shout out to Student Minister Troy Muhammad for the introductions and all the love he's shown me personally and the show over the years. There's no way I can ever thank that man enough. But on that note, this is Jobs. This has been another episode of Intellectually Petty Radio. If you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel or followed us on Facebook or whatever the case, please do. Just look up Intellectually Petty Radio. It's not too many of us. As far as I know, it's just one. But if you find another, please let me know. We'll bring them on and talk about it. Anyway, on that note, I'm out. Y'all have a phenomenal day on purpose. Peace.